I'm sure those who are regular viewers to the show would be like, "This was off. It was on, but it's back on again." How are you doing, sir? How has this evening
Good
been for
man.
you?
It's been mad. Like we're very transparent here because you do therapy. So I've just had the roughest day because I'm trying to build a wardrobe and I went to IKEA
Wow.
to pick it up, and I'm actually like the car I'm using at the moment is a convertible, but
Okay.
you can't fit a wardrobe into a convertible. I thought I could. And so it's raining as well. So I spent like hours trying to avoid getting a courier and just in the rain. So I'm shattered, but I'm
Oh
doing
my
this.
goodness.
I'm doing this for Tweet. I love Tweet so much. Like, let me do it. No, so it was IKEA in Greenwich, and it's just and I'm exhausted because I actually wanted to jump into building the thing because I'd earmarked my day for this and I was like, oh, I want to build it and get it done, and it's basically been like a waste of a day effectively.
Oh goodness.
So
Oh goodness.
but that's what we're here for. This is
Yeah.
your therapist. It'd be wrong of
Yes,
me to
sir.
come on here and act and pretend that like it's all hunky dory because it's just really
Mhm.
annoying. In the grand scheme of life, it's a champagne problem, but
Yeah.
relative to where I'm at now is like really irritating.
Well,
Um,
you can celebrate that you have a hit TV show.
I do have a
Um,
hit TV show. I do have a hit TV show. But like so much of, I mean, we are in the kind of post media training era of entertainment where like, I mean, if you're going on national TV, you have to maintain a kind of a level of poise and all of that type of stuff. But I suppose one of the good things, I mean, people just want to see who is the real person, who are the real people, and all this type of stuff. And I'm always in between that pocket of just being like trying to be. Kanye West has a line. I'm on TV talking like it's just you and me. That's his line from Can't Tell Me Nothing, and um, it's such a great line because it's just
mm,
epitomizes Kanye and how the fact that he would be on live national TV talking as it was just him and his close family or him and his
mm.
friend. And so yeah, there's a funny jostling line of how to navigate the social media space because do you maintain the like, oh, I'm on and I've had a great day, or do you do the actually relative, it's a champagne problem relative to all the stuff that's going on in the world, but this thing has knackered me and I'm tired and I've got bags under my eyes. Anyway, I'm saying all that to say um, I'm here and
Yeah.
I'm here for Tweet, man, and I'm here for halftime.
Yeah.
So
I mean, for those who are just joining in, we're reviewing Southern Hummingbird by Tweet,
yeah,
um, but also a history of this channel and this whole setup has always been about advocating for mental health awareness
100%.
among men, among the Black community globally. It's
Yeah,
just something that we aren't as transparent about. We always give, we give this impression that we're superhumans, and in general, we've had to be. If you think of, especially in Black Americas, from the history of slavery, and stuff, they've had to almost, you know, do twice as much and put on this brave face. But
just to
we
get
recognize, yeah,
just to get half or 1/18th.
yeah,
Yeah,
it is something that's, yeah. So no, I mean, my 9 to 5 is being a therapist, especially within here in London. But yeah, but yeah, it's all good. You particularly chose this album, and I would say, um, with Tweet, she had the big standout breakout single, "Oops, There Goes My."
hmm,
And that was the big track with Missy and Timberland, and for me, I just didn't go past the song. That was like, oh, okay, that's a nice song. Never listened to the album, never followed through. Then I remember the other song, the sort of the disco song. Maybe I didn't even think I
right.
did never heard her version of it. I think I heard some of the group
You
in
heard
the
the kind of
UK.
house version of Boogie
The
Tonight, right?
house, yeah, Boogie Tonight. I don't think I heard her version because
Mm.
so she kind of disappeared from my conscious. And when you said let's review her album, I'm thinking, oh, dude, what
Mm.
does she have? And I was shocked that the singles that she put out had no didn't
This,
really reflect the album completely. This was like a neo soul album. I'm thinking, what?
mm.
I'm thinking some songs like Motel and
Oh,
uh,
oh,
I mean, there were some songs I listened to. I was thinking, oh my goodness,
yeah,
how come I didn't haven't heard of this before?
yeah.
Heaven, there was just some songs I'm listening to. I'm like, wow, I really did like this album, and it was even a hard one for me to rank or rate because all the songs were so good in their own way that actually the Oops, which was probably one of my least favorites or so because I'd heard it so much and didn't it just felt out of place with the album. It's almost like, okay, we've got this album, we need a big single with Missy and Timberland. Let's just do a track, and it just didn't fit. But what was your memories of this album?
Oh man, like I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Like I love this album so much. I love it so much. And I'll be completely transparent in saying that like I don't know the lore of this album in terms of like the making of it and all that type of stuff and the background stuff. And that's for several reasons, which I'll explain because it's how the album came to me at the time. So this album basically encapsulates a lot of 2000. I mean, it came out in '02. It came out in '02. Yeah, it came out in '02, and actually encapsulates just this pocket of my mid-teens. So I remember. So just to say, I don't know the lore of this album as well because I
What
didn't
do you mean I love the album?
the lore, the LORE of it because I didn't pay for it. I mean, I paid for it, but I have a really good friend from secondary school who was the music supply. He was the music supplier for a lot of people, and he had a CD burner. And so I, full disclosure, the statute of limitations is up, but I'm gonna say his name. I'm gonna say his name, Chris Brown. His name's Chris Brown from Acne. And so I said, Chris, I want this album because I don't think you could even get it on like Napster or anything like that. But he gave me a copy. But it had a cover and everything, but you didn't have the inlay card with the details of who produced what. Because I always paid for music and all that type of stuff, but so I didn't have that information. So this album was like all I had was the CD and the sound, and I would come home. I remember that whole summer of 2002. I did my first big film that year, Out of Control, and I remember Metal Gear Solid. I think had come out. Either Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty for the PlayStation 2 had come out. Yeah, I think it come out 2002 or 2001. But I remember I'd come home every day and play that album while playing Metal Gear Solid 2. It's the two most incongruous things. And that album, I learned it back to front, and it was just so beautiful. And as you say, the lead single and the main singles are so not reflective of what the album is. They did like, and it's almost like Timberland and Missy. I know that I think she was part of the same kind of crew as them, but it's almost like their
Who's
production.
it?
What's that?
Tweet, you mean?
Yeah, Tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, she was signed to Missy's label.
There you go. And then they came in. Those songs, those Timberland tracks came in almost like, all right, we need some singles, so let's go. Because the album, at its core, especially if you think of those first four songs, that kind of first kind of row of songs, it sounds
My
like
place, smoking cigarettes.
Best Friend.
Best Friend, yeah.
That trilogy of songs, like, was just like, what the hell is going on? Because they all sound really similar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was hard for me to rank them, and it's like
because they're part of the same. It's like a medley almost. It's almost like a medley. So like, My Place is such a, and as I've gotten older, I've appreciated its double entendres because it's not saying come over. It's not just come over to my place. It's like it's the beauty of good R&B writing or songwriting. Like one thing is like you can take it at surface level, and then you can take the subtext and realize that this is just a song about sex, and orgasming. And the double entendres are so on point. And actually, there's something about Tweets. I think she's got one of the most beautiful voices in all of R&B, and it's unheralded. But where her voice sits is like such a lovely place to sing along to. Like I
Mm.
sing to it, and
Oh,
like
you can.
yeah, it works within like my vocal range. And I think her and Faith Evans have two voices that I will always sing along to, like because it's just easy to sing their songs. I mean, it's not easy to sing their songs. You can't do Faith or Tweet justice if you ain't got the pipes. But they just where their vocal range is, it's just so nice to sing along to. This album is just yeah, I just found myself playing that game, Metal Gear Solid 2, and singing this album back to front.
Now I'm looking at the producers because and I tend not to Derek out in Minneapolis. Hopefully the weather isn't too bad for you. I tend not to when I rate it out. I tend not to look at the producers
Yeah,
because I tend to get biased by this is this and this.
exactly.
But we all knew about the Timberlands. I didn't realize that Tweet did some of the production as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Like Best Friend with Bilal, Smoking Cigarettes, she did that production. She got Jubu on Boogie Tonight and
yeah.
Always Will. Jubu is, for those who don't know, it was part of the original Tony band. He's out there in the Bay Area. He is the guy who played the guitar in Anniversary. Jubu is one of the, one of the great producers. But she produced Motel,
Mm,
Complain, Heaven,
mm,
Drunk, and I'm thinking, my goodness, this. So I think she she came across the label. You always blame the label, but she came across as this pretty girl who had this hit this song um, that Timbaland and Missy did, and it was almost like, yeah, we can, we're gonna just put a song for you, and you
mm.
just sing without realizing that actually she's a singer, songwriter, instrumentalist, and she had her own style, which probably in the lane of Erica Badu, in the Jill Scott range,
Yeah,
in the range of India Arie, she probably could have come into that range, but they almost as if they put her in a corner where you get you hear those hit singles
yeah.
and expect it to be just like what Timbaland did for Aaliyah and stuff, and you might think, yeah, instead of allowing her to develop and not rush, um, yeah. And I don't know, where did you hear the album? How did you get the album?
How did I get the album?
Yeah, I mean, because I'm thinking I'm in the US and everything's coming out. Was this as successful in the UK when
Oh
it
no,
came
it
out?
was successful. Yeah, it was. Like normally, so this is what would happen with me with
Hey,
music.
Ezekiel. Yeah.
There's a place called Wired for Sound in Hackney. It was on Mare Street, and it was run by two guys. One of them, Uncle Angel, what's up, Angel? Um, and they what they would do is every Friday. That's where they get their new releases because I think that's when music. I think new music came out on I think on Tuesdays in America. I can't remember, but like there was certain
Oh,
release dates or whatever. And I remember Friday
yeah, yeah. I think it
get
was
the
like
pressings.
Thursday.
Yeah, on a Thursday, and they'd get all the pressings from the European plant or whatever, and they'd have them over. And like they grew to know me from a kid, and so every Friday they would have like stacks of stuff for me, like, and I would take whatever pocket money I'd saved up or whatever lunch money I'd saved up. And sometimes I wouldn't eat for that week. Like my parents don't know this, but sometimes I oh, they've got the new cannabis album, like well past cannabis's time, like whatever. Like, they've got
Cannabis.
Might Club the curriculum, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're gonna like this one." But I didn't actually get this from them because I think I bought all my albums from them. I bought like my Music Soul Child albums from them, all of this type of stuff, like all of my hip hop stuff I bought from them. But this I got from my friend Chris Brown, who is a sort of internet.
Not the Chris Brown, or is
Yeah,
it a Chris Brown?
he is the Chris Brown to me because he's hacking. Like,
Okay.
everyone knows Chris Brown. He goes by Pants online. I'm gonna bait him up, but he's a bit of a Hackney legend. But he was a lot of people's music supplier when they couldn't get certain things, and he also was the guy who had those kids who have the tuck shop in school.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, he was an entrepreneur from young. Anyway, and so I said to him, "Oh, Chris, get me get me Tweet's album. And then he sorted it out within a day or two. And I was Napster savvy as well.
Oh yeah, Napster.
But yeah, I was Napster savvy as well. But I was like, no, I want it in like the best possible quality, and the quality is phenomenal. Anyway, that aside, my illegalities aside, I remember, seeing Oops, and to be honest, I loved Tweet. I fancied the pants off of her. Um,
Okay.
Beautiful skin, beautiful man. She had this like, she had a gap too, but it wasn't in the center. It was sort of at the side, and it was like the cutest thing in the world. She had the most beautiful skin, and she reminded me of Maya Campbell from In the House. Remember Maya Campbell, who played Tiffany in the House, the LL Cool J sitcom.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Goodness,
She
that's going
reminded me of
back.
Maya Campbell, and Maya Campbell was everything to me, like that. I was like, Claudette Ortiz from City High and Maya Campbell. You couldn't tell me I wasn't gonna marry them, you know. And so Tweet was like gorgeous, and I remember Oops, and I was like, oh, this is that Timberland production, and it was that kind of like unorthodox kind of
Ding,
uh,
ding, ding,
uh,
ding.
uh, it's like that weird sample that he used and all that type of stuff, and then it went into da na 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 da na 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 na. Is when Timberland, it was in that Missy second album, third album thing, like just after they did Get Your Freak On, and then when they were into that, they were using a lot of Bangra and all that type of stuff. Sorry, sorry, Missy's third album, Miss E, the one that starts with Miss E. And then they had Get Your Freak On, they had Time to Lick Shots, they had Minute Man, and Timberland and them were experimenting with a lot of like Bangra infused stuff, which
Oh
then led
yeah. So you have to let, but that's like the Asian kind of stuff.
exactly, and then it went
Mm.
into, because then Bubba Sparks used a lot of those types.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was like Timberland was in that pocket, even so much so that he was, when he did the Jay-Z, Big Pimpin', and so this was an extension of that. It had a lot of that kind of Bangra kind of Tambler feel, but it was still R&B. And like subject wise, we're like, what is she talking about? And then like as I grew older, I was like, oh, she's talking about, it's like self pleasure. And then she, in the press, she was like, oh, it's about self love. But I think it's about, it's a sexual song. I'll say that much. And it was like one of those songs that people really messed with, but actually it wasn't representative of the album. And what the thing that made me really want to mess with the album was, like, I remember listening to Trevor Nelson's show on a Sunday, and he played one of the album cuts. I don't think it was ever a single, but the song was called Beautiful.
Mm.
And I'm jumping around the album. We're not going in order, but I'm just saying, like, Beautiful was what made me go, I need to get this album. Because Beautiful was literally that. It was such a beautiful, beautiful song. And it did the same thing, because we, in our house, we used to play So Amazing a lot, like Luther Vandross. And
Mm.
my christening video is scored to Luther Vandross is So Amazing. So that song has a lot of memories, core memories for me. And weirdly, it did the same thing to me as So Amazing. That song Beautiful. And I was like, whatever this feeling is that's coming from this album, from this song, I want to listen to this album. So got the album, and then you had the intro, the whole hard to say, so much to say, and she's talking about stuff that she's going through, and then you segue straight into um um
My
uh
place.
place, and you're like, I'm hooked. That guitar refrain, it just blew my mind, and it was such a departure from what I heard in terms of the main single. And then I loved Bilal at that time as well. Bilal had dropped his first album, which was Firstborn Second. I think that's what his album is called. That was Bilal
Mm.
with Fast Lane and Sally and Reminisce and all that. And Bilal was kind of like, at the time, he was like, oh, he's like in the D'Angelo vein.
Mm, 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 mm,
Music
mm.
Culture were kind of neck and neck at that time as well. But then you got Bilal, like, with this song Best Friend, and I was like, oh, this is a beautiful song, because it's talking
Yeah.
about, you can relate to it,
Mm.
like crossing over from like someone being your best friend and falling in love with them. And the lyrics
Yeah.
were so beautiful, the melody was so beautiful, and they were going back and forth on that. in such a beautiful way, and the lyrics are incredible. Best
Yeah.
friend of mine knows what to say any time of the day. That's why I call. Oh, I love that. Love
But
it.
as we mentioned though that I'm looking through the credits and she um co-wrote every track on that album.
Yeah.
Um every track on that album and co-produced most of it.
Mm.
But that was not how she was presented. And
No.
I do wonder if they had presented her as, just like how they did with Indie Irie with a guitar and just
Mm.
vibing, would we not have been a little bit, would we have understood her talent and understood and gravitated to that version of Tweak as opposed to the version that they try to put out,
Yeah.
um, which was a pop star, which then felt in that category of, okay, you Missy's written the song, Timbaland's done the production, all you're doing is singing. I've heard
It's,
it
it's
before.
it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's the times. It's the times. Like, so she dropped albums. She dropped subsequent albums. There was "It's Me Again," which was 2005, and Charlene, which was I think 2016. And I think what it is as the music industry changed and the transparency changed, you could just by the Charlene album, you got the idea that this is a woman who plays guitar and can sing, and I mean, so and can play guitar and sing and do that kind of thing, that kind of like jazz cafe kind of woman on a stool with a guitar kind of thing, as opposed to the Hype Williams produced pyrotechnics kind of Aaliyah um
Mm, mm,
derivative. Because physically, long hair, beautiful woman from the kind of Timberland camp, you're immediately going, oh cool, she's in that kind of Aaliyah pop star mold. And actually we keep on going back to the singles being not representative, but
yeah.
you needed those singles. You needed those singles, that because obviously radio is important, radio is radio, but like radio had to be serviced, so you needed songs that like radio
Okay.
play, and also that the clubs were playing, because she had those, and that's what Timberland was giving her. Timberland didn't produce any of the album cuts or ballads. He produced the quote unquote bangers. He produced "Call Me," which again is back to that. If you listen to that, that's what he's offering album wise. Is what are they saying? So the chat said,
No, some of the tracks are really good about she was overshadowed by Ashanti because she came out just around that time. So then there was a difference. And the
but
Red Golden Child was saying that Tweet's demo with her girl group got Aaliyah's attention and that's how she got connected with Missy and Timbaland.
amazing. Amazing. This is stuff that I know because, as I said, like in comparison to say like the Dre album, where I can actively be like, I am an authority on this. This one is like I know the album well, but I wouldn't be like I'm learning. So thank you to these people telling me this stuff. But what I would say about to Shy Boy Shades 7817. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Look, Ashanti's was a great artist, and was blessed by the fact that she had Irv and Murder Inc. and Seven Aurelius and all these amazing producers, and she
Mm,
had Ja Rule, and it was just that time. But she's not as interesting a vocalist as Tweet is. Tweet's voice is
mm,
like Ashanti is cool, and big up Ashanti, but Ashanti's not Tweet. And Ashanti's not Tweet at all. And also just the writing on, you can't compare baby, 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 or now my days are cool without you to Motel. Like it's you just got to, and they do, and there's place for both, but I think Tweet, it's just it's just an interesting one, isn't it?
yeah, but you're saying that, as I said, I
Mm,
would have, if you hadn't suggested this album
yeah,
and I didn't listen to it, you brought up, you said Tweets album. I'm thinking Tweets. Did you just
yeah,
have the one hit, the one song? So, and I would never have rated her be above Ashante or even J Lo because of just like
What?
I wouldn't have until I listened to the album, and I'm like, damn, what
Yeah,
this is, and she's writes and she
yeah.
plays
She does everything.
and
That
she yeah.
forensic accountant 259 said, and Tweet is chocolate. Yes, she's chocolate. I was in love with her. I thought I was gonna marry Tweet. I thought I was gonna marry Charlene Keys. I thought I was gonna marry her.
Yeah. I'm
No,
so
no,
plus.
no, you're right about that, and I'm glad that I suggested it because I wanted to suggest like I didn't want to do another hip hop album because that's kind of like easy,
Mm.
and the R&B stuff. While I know stuff, whatever, I won't profess. Like a lot of it could be educational. Yeah, I know they're saying J Lo.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that I heard more J Lo's songs than I had of Tweet,
Yeah,
and so that I didn't rank Tweet at all
no,
because I hadn't listened to the album, and I'm just as being honest
yeah,
until AK recommended it, and I listened to it,
yeah,
and I was floored. I was
yeah.
floored about how it was such a beautiful album, and I've probably listened to it about 10 times,
Oh wow,
and it feels as if I have not listened to it. I can listen to it now and like, oh, okay, well, I missed something in this.
yeah.
Um, it is just it's a vibe, and it's very rare to get those vibe albums, and it was neo soul to the core,
Mm.
and actually somehow I actually skip Oops. Because it just doesn't fit on the. It doesn't fit. I mean, do you think it fits on the album?
I
It does.
think so. I think because it's
It's a
so
nice song, but does it fit
yeah,
in the?
it doesn't fit in terms of like if you're gonna make an album, like if India RE was making an album, if we're gonna use that comparison,
Yeah.
India RE wouldn't have an oops.
Yeah.
But Tweet
Well,
was
what about Erica? Because Erica, I
Erica,
felt
no, Erica could have an oops, but the production would be different. Because Erica, if you think about it, Erica's production, particularly with that first album with like Baduism and stuff like that, it felt organic. It felt like it's something that you could play with just instruments, and that's that. Oops
mm,
feels very studio produced, and there's a lot of kind of Timberland studio stuff. Whereas like, sorry, Erica could have had an oops, but it would have sounded way different. It would have
mm.
sounded like on and on. You see what I'm saying? I mean?
Yeah.
Like it would have been in that vein. This and I think that's the thing. Some albums your brain will tell you that these things don't fit. But I think because what happens with nostalgia is you go like, nah, actually, this is fine. Like this is a meal that I get that I can sort of understand together, because it's sense memory and it's just sort of embedded. Because like Make Your Move and Boogie Tonight, on and then Oops, which are like dance numbers, sort of fly in the face a little bit of like the slow moving first act. Like, and then even songs like Motel, which is just it's not a floor filler, but it's like this album. I think one way I could describe it is like you could actually do a car journey to this album quite easily, and that's what I think.
When I do, when I'm going to driving to London, I'm like, okay, I put it in, and I'm like, oh my goodness, have I just gone to my destination and it's so chilled?
Yeah, no, and like, and actually, I think in order for it to work fully as a kind of car or as a long player, is that like, yeah, you need
Mm.
those radio friendlies. So Oops and Make Your Move and Call Me.
I like this comment because it
Yeah.
says Silver Roan pushed Tweet to be more hip hop soul like Adina Howard, but Tweet wanted to be neo soul. The album was rushed. Um,
But I love Southern Hummingbird.
and I think there's something because as I said, it almost feels as if she did the Neil out songs, and Sylvia was like, "No, man, I'm not gonna push this out.
You
I
need to go
need,
see Timberland. You need to go see Timberland. Yeah,
yeah, because." And it almost felt that's why I said that actually it's very hard to overshadow Timbaland. He's, when it comes to drums and
yeah,
beats, I think he was he's there was a non-compete, but it felt as if they needed the Timberland and Missy connection to give it. And actually, "Oops" was the song that I heard. It was like, oh, and any of the other neo soul songs, those are slow burners. Takes a lot of money, takes a lot of time to
Yeah,
get people to listen to the slow burners. So they needed a big track.
yeah.
But it is a hard one to get the hit records and then say, but this is how she really is, and for people to have time to listen to invest in that.
And it's really interesting you say that, because like that, the first person that comes to mind with that
Mm.
isn't of our culture, community, or hue.
Pink.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. She's not from, because she was given the, and this is just the inherent sort of difference between what you know, just black artists, white artists. It's just how it works. Pink was given the privilege of, sorry, I'm getting distracted because they mentioned the song. We'll bring it up in a second. Um, um, you had Pink, and that first album, I thought Pink was mixed race. I did. I thought
Okay.
I thought she was mixed race, um, and it was basically Candy doing, writing for her, and you had Kevin. I think it was Kevin Shakespeare Briggs was doing that production, and
There we
some,
go. Yes, yeah, there
yeah,
we go.
sure it was Kevin Briggs, because Kevin was working a lot with it's Kevin Briggs, yeah, working a lot with Candy and all that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
There you go. Even like there's a thing that Pink does in that "Here You Go" video. I was like, she's got to be. She must be like. There's a little kind of head nod that she does. That little
Yeah,
dance. I'm like,
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
the culture. And then she got to grow, because she did she then grew, and then she grew into basically a rock artist in the middle of, like, a pop rock artist. But
Yeah.
that tweet, we do not get the privilege, because we literally get
Thanks,
one
Korea.
shot.
Hmm.
We get one shot to come out, and if it doesn't bang, particularly amongst our own,
Yeah.
then it's like you're out the door kind of thing. And I this album and it's one of those things. It's just, I don't know where it sits in the pantheon of like early 2000s R&B records, but for me, it's one of those things that like you can have a smell that stamps time. Like there's a
Mm.
certain like Radox shower gel, blue one, that stamps time for me. This album stamps time. It's like you were 15, it was summer 2002, you were doing this, this was going on. So every time I hear those songs, I go, oh,
Mm.
wow, and her voice, she's beautiful, like
Yeah,
sickeningly beautiful.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah.
and and it's even interesting because you think it, because look, we're seeing the sort of promotion, the sort of artwork. Um, we're looking at this, the one with the sort of yellowy orange color, and then we're looking at some of these pictures and stuff, and I'm like, this woman in these images, isn't, what is she? You know what I mean? Because she's not necessarily a club R&B baddie in that way, but she's beautiful. There's something otherworldly about her. The long hair, the sort of almost black Pocahontas of it all.
Yeah, but if she was pictured with a guitar, sitting
That
down with
would
a guitar.
that would have contextualized it in a much better way, but I don't think you could do that, because oops doesn't represent that. Oops is Timberland production, you're the singer. But if
Mm.
she was pictured with a guitar, that actually completes that image. Because even that wrist stuff that she has going on, if I saw someone with a guitar, I'm like, oh, I get you. I get what's going on. Let's just go to this. Shy Boy Shade 7817 says, "Always Will" is such a good song, and it's so true. We could be on separate planets, Mars and Venus, heart to heart, no
Ah.
space between us.
You
You
know,
know,
and what
know.
this album reminded me is my favorite Lauren Hill album, which was her Unplugged album.
That, and you know what's really funny? It came out the same year. It
Oh,
came
I
no,
didn't
no,
realize.
no. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Sorry, no, no,
Okay.
no, no, no. Sorry, I'm wrong. So it came out 2001, but I was bumping them. That's another one that I got off of Chris. That's another one that Chris burned for me. Um,
Oh,
but
y-
interestingly, with the
yeah. it reminded. I was listening to it. I'm thinking, okay, this just reminded me of Lauryn Hill's Unplugged, which people I don't know, many people slept on, but I thought it was raw. It was really to the core, and I could and it was actually yeah, that was my
Yeah,
one of my favorites. But I was yeah, but it was yeah, with this it's she just said she had the same kind of vibe. She was singing and stuff, but
mm,
as I said, it's part of the marketing that they just made us think the tweet was just a singer singing somebody else's beats. And obviously, and maybe even see if she even did anything with Oops, if she even did any. Let me see that because um, generally I would have thought that okay, she co-wrote it with Missy.
she wrote it with Missy. Shy Boy
She
Shades. I'm just looking at his comment. We're probably around the same age because he's mentioning the Parkers, and I think I remember that episode. He's talking about she made a TV appearance on the Parkers with her guitar. So that fulfills what we're talking about. But so she wrote Oops. You're saying she wrote Oops with Missy?
yeah. So she was the main writer, and Missy co-wrote it with her.
Sure. It feels very Missy-ish in its subject matter because actually on Missy's one of her albums on Under Construction, I think it was, but Missy doesn't shy away from that kind of onanism and self-pleasure kind of stuff. Because she even has a song, I think it's on Under Construction. She has a song called "A Toy," which is about a device that ladies you know
Yeah.
but yeah, but it feels like that lyrically is very much in Missy's wheelhouse, which is like
Ah.
open sexual expression, and like and not shying away from it, which kind of in black music, it's kind of you. Someone mentioned Adina Howard, and it's like you can go the Adina Howard kind of route where it's like I'm a freak, yada yada yada, and that's amazing.
Mm,
So, or the Millie Jackson one where it's like I'm a
mm.
freak, but it's the 1970s. Or you can have what Tweet's doing, which is it's like
The innuendos and the yeah.
yeah, it's innuendo.com. It's no, it sort of leaves a lot to the imagination, but it's still there.
I think what I liked about these some of the comments that are coming through is when you have context about what was happening, it kind of has an impact as to why an album,
Mm,
how the energy behind it, um,
mm,
and Leah's death, how that impacted what everyone was thinking about and things
mm.
like that.
Um,
Uh,
yeah, I mean, Aaliyah died in August 2001. And I suppose what Tweet represented was like the next person out of that camp and who's going to fill that fill that thing. I see the red golden child said Timberland was starting to produce pop songs with Lenny Furtado. I'm not sure he started working with Nelly then. I might be wrong because I thought the first time he worked with Nelly was on when they started doing um what was that tune? What was Nelly's tune with thing?
Mysterious, is it Mysterious?
Mysterious Girl, all that type of stuff, which was around the Future Sex Love Sounds kind
Mm.
of time. But anyway,
What's this career saying talk about Cab Ride? Was that
Cab Ride is on It's Me Again, I think.
his second album?
I think it is because that there's a song called Taxi. There's a song called Taxi on the second album, which samples the theme from
Oh
Taxi.
yes, it is. It is. It's on the second album.
It's on the second album. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
Which,
we were doing the first. We're doing her debut album.
yeah, we did a debut. Yes, the Cab Ride's on the second one, as is Taxi. And the second album is cool as well. It's got a song. It's got a song that covers the Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell version of "If This World Were Mine," produced by Kwame of Polka Dots fame. Kwame transitioned into being like just a producer, so he produced that as K1. So that's on the second album, and then she's got a song with her daughter on the second album. But this first album, and that album feels weirdly all over the place because
Mm.
it was less of the guitar sound, to be fair, and it was all studio production. Whereas this album gives you that live lounge feel with the guitar, with the stripped back guitar, and then you have your produced songs with your like studio produced songs. So this album for me is the most complete. I think the second album was like I think it felt like maybe a last gasp attempt to be that thing that Sylvia Rone had wanted.
Yeah, because if you think about yes, the second album didn't it sold 55,000 in the second week. The first album, commercial success, it went it did close just shy of 100 a million.
Mm,
And going, yeah, so thinking about just thinking about, she was so gold in the first couple of months, and it's taken a while to get to a million.
yeah.
They would be very much okay. Music videos at that time were costing up to $1 million. So going gold is about 5 million.
Five hundred
Um,
thousand.
yeah, 500,000. So it is about 5 million. It's about $10 a record. So that's about 5 million. If you're shooting a Missy video, which is about $1 million, you start to see, are we really making money from that? So
Exactly.
hence they're thinking about, okay, do we make more videos? Because did she just do 2 videos?
Oops, and she did
Call Me,
Call Me. Yeah, she
Call
did.
Me.
Yeah, and that was it. And I think she should have done one. She definitely should have done one for Motel. I can see that. That is like one of the like that is visual. That's a visual song. Like to me, for me, they should have shot it like Sin City, like black and white, noir kind of thing. Like in my head, I'd already written the treatment as a kid. I was like, because the song was so evocative.
Yeah, but I think the challenge you have is because she was signed to Goldmine, which is Missy's label,
Yeah.
then to Elektra, and when we got into the 2000s, labels were looking at, we were getting the whole Napster stuff, which was impacting CD sales. We were getting labels being bought and merged, so all of a sudden records were put on hold. They were looking at trying to save costs. Our R&B was the one that got sacrificed
Mm.
at this time. So if you weren't going platinum, and then hip hop, this was the era where Billboard merged the R&B charts with the hip hop charts, and so it was more economical to get a hip hop artist to write their lyrics, get some beats, do the videos, and they were crossing over to a wider audience. Hip hop was going pop, so labels were like, okay, we're going following the money.
Mm.
If she had come out 4 years earlier, like during the Badu times or India Ari, during that time when Angie Stone and all these artists were allowed to grow, they wouldn't had to go in and pay Timbaland 200, 300,000 to do a beat, because his signature was all over that tweet.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah, it was his
100%.
signature, and Tweet didn't really showcase her vocals. She showcased her looks, but it was her singing on a Timbaland and Missy track.
Yeah. I mean, the song is still, I think it's, I mean, I dare say it's a classic, but it is, it's a, when you play that song, you know what it is. You know exactly what that tune is. But you're right. Timbaland's production and his sound overshadow it. And actually, if you was to say to a mainstream radio listener what the artist was called, they might not be able to tell you. They'd know the song.
Yeah, yeah,
They'd
yeah.
struggle to be like, oh, who is? And when I say mainstream, I mean I'm saying like a white person. If you said white people know the tune, but they wouldn't know who sang it. Like for instance, not Boogie, yeah, Boogie Tonight.
Yeah.
It's very similar to like Faith Evans' "Be Faithful," which I hate. I hate that song with a passion. Rest in peace, Fat Man Scoop, legendary. But I hate that song with a
Oh,
passion.
wait a minute. You mean Love Like This?
We call it Love Like This, but they call it Be Faithful. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, that was my jam. That was my
Yeah,
jam.
yeah, but Love Like This was the jam. When they put Black Sheep engine
Yeah,
number,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
pick it up. It's like it's like white people music 101. And but they wouldn't be able to say it's a Faith Evans song. They call it a Fat Man Scoop, Be Faithful. And similar to Boogie Tonight, they wouldn't people, of that ilk wouldn't say, oh, it's his tweet. They'd call it whatever the remix version, or they know the song, they know it as Boogie Tonight.
Yeah,
But
but when the Boogie Tonight, that was um that Boogie Tonight was actually covered. It was somebody else covered it, and they made it much bigger than Tweet did it.
yeah, they covered it, and they
Butchie Love, yeah, they're the ones who
yeah,
released it in 2006, and I've actually heard their version, not
yes,
Tweet's version.
that's what I'm saying. So you've heard the kind of the more poppy, housey version.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It's actually, but so is my point that similar to Oops, and similar to the Faith Evans Be Faithful thing, Batman Scoop, it's like some of these records are bigger than the original artists that made them, because they were given to someone to to
yeah.
take,
Now I think what happened with Fat Man, he actually, because I remember hearing Faith talking about this. He Fat Man Scoop was doing his he was doing in his club, and he was doing his Crooklyn remix for the
Mhm,
clubs, just for the streets, and they selling a mixtape.
mhm,
It was never supposed to blow up like that.
mhm.
Diddy heard it, and he thought, oh, it's helping promote the original. So he didn't chase him to say what's going on. It was supposed to be just sold to DJs in
Yeah,
New York area,
yeah,
but it blew up and went on the radios, and blew up, went worldwide. And Faith was like, "Hey, where's my money?"
yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah.
so
That's
she called her lawyers and say,
That's what
"Hey,
the Golden Child is saying. Said Faith had to sue them for stealing her music.
yeah,
But yeah, but it's like some of these songs, like this, Tweet song, the song that doesn't really represent the totality of what she's about. Oops doesn't represent the whole of Tweet. Um, they become bigger than the artist in a lot of ways. It's really interesting because around the same time, the Truth Hurts dropped that same year.
oh,
She
it did.
dropped
Oh, yeah, yeah. That
Truthfully Speaking, which had Addictive
yeah,
featuring Rakim. And I was, because this is part of the Dr. Dre thing. So I was such a like, I remember before the album came out, I was like, I was locked in. I was locked in. And actually, the album's decent. The album's decent. It's not amazing. It's like, and Dr. Dre isn't really known for like breaking R&B artists. He's not really done it. Like, and I love Dre, but he's not like broken R&B artists in that way.
mm,
But that album, Addictive, is a huge, huge song. But if you was to ask the average non-culturally inclined person what what's the name of that song, so what's the artist on that song, they'd be like, I don't know.
yeah,
And then weirdly, because um a similar thing happened with Truth Hurts as Tweet, was that the second album was sort of diminishing returns, because they had the second album by um Truth Hurts was called Ready Now. I'm Ready Now. And she had the lead single was by Raphael Sadiq, which is actually a really beautiful song, but it was diminishing returns because she didn't have that monster,
follow up.
the monster lead single. Because
Okay,
it's back to your original point. What
yeah,
pushed this album to where it needed to go was it had a monster lead single.
yeah, yeah.
And
But yeah, the issue you do have is because now, if for people who see Tweets on tour, she has a set, because she does her album, and she doesn't necessarily have to do Oops.
yeah,
I think she's going to come to the UK March, April. She's
oh,
performing in the UK. Tweet is performing in the UK, I think, in March.
wow.
Um, but she can go into. It's the same with Nicole Ray. Nicole
Oh,
Ray put away that.
she had Lady
Um,
Ray. She had Lady Ray. That
so that's her sort of that's her vibe kind of stuff. But she put away the what was the song that is this Superwoman that she did? What was the song that she did? Her big, she had that big,
I got what you want,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Got what
what you need.
so that was Missy and
Make it
Timberland. You
hot.
can
Yeah,
hear that, but that
I need,
wasn't, that, and she had to put away that persona, and she's gone down the neo soul kind of
yeah,
way.
like the kind of Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings kind of thing. Because Lady Ray, was Lady Ray. The album's called Lady First. I can't remember the name of the album. The album is so dope. The album is so dope. That Lady Ray album, Queen Alone, I think it's called. I think that's what it's called. That album is so dope. But it and it's really interesting because this thing about artistry, um, yeah, the album's called Queen Alone. I had to double check that. But this thing about artistry and like you finding yourself on your second album or like your third album, because like, you know, is evidenced by um yeah, Nicole Ray, like Make It Hot was a thing. I remember that. That was
Mm.
my first year of secondary school, and I was like, what is this tune? Who is this? Who's this guy? And I didn't see it for years. I didn't see
Yeah.
it for years and years and years and years. But Tweet, to me, we knew who Tweet was with the first album. She was more the guitar sitting on a stool and singing you love songs than she was Oops. But it's just she wasn't allowed, she wouldn't have been able to thrive in that era. Because, you know, as the aforementioned, I think Red Golden Child was talking about Ashanti and that kind of thing.
Mm.
You're fighting against you're fighting against that. You're fighting against the emergent Christina Milian, you know, because Christina Milian was out around that time. She had AM to PM. And then Christina Milian, I mean, just as an example of that era, it's like Christina Milian had to change up the game after that. She dropped Dip It Low. Dip It Low was her second album lead single, which was a straight departure from AM to PM.
Mm.
And but yeah, so Tweet in this era is such an interesting thing that you brought up because it's a conundrum. Because she could
Yeah.
sit in India RE box. She could sit in.
Yeah, but then Indra had the luxury with Erica of coming out in the '90s where there was space. It was the era of neo soul.
Yeah.
So
You
we
know,
were
India,
all,
to be fair, like, correct me if I'm wrong. I think India's first album around the same time where she dropped an album before that. Because
no,
I'm
she
because my theory is that India dropped around 2001, 2002. Like Video and Brown Skin were around that. Oh,
let me see. Because I
I could be wrong.
think I'm just let me just look at the discography here. Um,
Tejo.
oh, so Acoustic Soul 2001.
That's what I was saying. Like, yeah. So India RE didn't drop in that first tranche of like
Ah,
uh,
but she was signed to Motown, and that is where Kadar, who was the
Masterberg.
yeah, so that was his thing. So he really was pushing the whole. And she did double platinum.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
Motown.
quite
So
crazy.
most it depends on the label that you're in
Yeah.
on. Because yeah, yeah. If I think about it, look at that. She did double platinum, and she came out March, and we just talked about Tweet coming out.
But
We
you said Tweet stalled at just under
came
a million.
April, so came out the month later.
Yeah, but she stalled at just under just below platinum. That's where
Yeah,
the album.
but no, but the album for the year it came out when they put the money was just around gold.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It has subsequently just gotten
It's
towards
correct.
platinum now, but that's
Okay.
people discovering it. So the thing is, that's why having the right label makes a
Yeah.
difference because
But then
India.
the album wasn't a success then at the time, if you think about it, because like 500,000 at that point for R&B is not.
No, no, and that's a lot of work because, as I said, that "Oops" was an expensive video because Missy was, Missy would, and then getting Timbaland to do production.
Yeah.
India didn't have any big names doing her
No,
production,
no, she didn't. She didn't.
and it was an album that we were able to take it to come out the same time. So most people, I would say, yeah, I remember India Arie and I remember her songs. Toops and Tweet, I would have just said, oh, she's one of Missy's girls.
You could also offer that Tweet had an unfortunate name in, like, if you think about it in just in terms of like what later happened, because like tweet
Twitter.
has become a verb. To
Yeah.
tweet has become a verb. So just in terms of like, it's unfortunate in hindsight, like, oh snap, your name is lost in this thing that we do, this
Mm.
social media thing. Because it's a dope name, but like now it would get lost if you say tweet.
Yeah, so there's a massive about when you're trying to yeah, when you're searching, it's like intro, big loved intro, but then calling yourself intro and then your album called intro means that if you search for it, it's just too vague and
Yeah,
nothing unique. Okay. I'm just looking at um Ashanti and looking at, yeah, oh goodness. So her album came out April of 2002. So the month, a couple of weeks after Tweet, and that was, this was where R&B and hip hop were merging, and so it was, unless you had, if you're not on Motown. And had that level of pushing that Motown and Kadar was doing
yeah.
with his neo soul.
I just
Um,
just quickly just look at what Red Golden Child's saying. I wasn't saying that tweet like there was any friction between Twitter and tweet. I was saying that in this age of rediscovery, her name is unfortunate. That's
yeah, 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 yeah.
it's because it's just, it gets lost in the mire of what.
Yeah, if I'm saying I'm seeing
Yeah,
tweet, people, yeah,
yeah,
people. If you hear tweet, you're not going to think
you're not
of the
exactly.
artist. Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
once
yeah.
cramp. I got cramp. Sorry,
Yo, the IKEA crap.
got cramp.
Also, yeah, Alicia Keys. They that was another sort of artist that was taking it into a different direction. Um, um, how is it? How was her album received in the UK? Because I was in the US up till I actually
Um,
moved.
I can't tell you, and I tell you why I can't tell you. One, because there was no social media at that point,
Mm,
and I was still a kid comparatively, so I wasn't I wasn't in the clubs like that, or I wasn't around big people to discuss it enough. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know what the reception was album wise, but by the fact that like I heard that song "Beautiful" on Trevor Nelson's thing, I think for the heads it was because I remember Trevor Nelson talking about that song "Beautiful." He
and for
picked it.
those who might know, Trevor Nelson is he was like a Donny Simpson here in the UK. He's one of the
But
first mainstream black DJs, been on the
respect,
radio 30
respect,
years.
respect to Donny Simpson, but Trevor Nelson's a different gravy, man. He's like a music savant. He's got the most incredible music knowledge. He knows everything. Love Donny Simpson. Salutes. But see,
No,
Uncle
I'll say that he's the UK version because if you try to find an equivalent in the US, because Trevor did
the lick,
uh, the
the lick.
link the lick on MTV. He was on the BBC. So, and the UK, unlike the US, the BBC was the main radio station, and he was the only person playing R&B and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
that's
He also threw parties as well. He had this lick party, which
mm.
I wasn't old enough to go to, and like it's one of my man. I wish I went to a lick party. They looked so incredible. But Trevor Nelson, I think he was talking about it. It was his choice to play that as an album cut, because I think he got an advance copy of the album, and he was saying like, "This is my favorite tune." And his ear and his taste and what he loves and the things that he knows, music inside out, whatever. And he picked that, and it resonated with me. It really did. It felt like that song "Beautiful" is such a simple but beautiful song.
Mm,
And
mm,
so in terms of like, to your point about how what the reception was, I won't, I have no context with it for it because I was that young. So that, and there was no my peers weren't necessarily listening to it in that way. You see what I'm saying? Like, this was the era of R. Kelly, Chocolate Factory. So that was a more popular album, which I had as well. I had that album as well. But the Tweet album, Yeah, I don't know what the thing was. I don't have any kind of context to it.
And I could imagine if I had gotten the album after hearing Oops
Mm,
and then Call Me and like, oh, Timbaland and Missy are all over this joint. And then listening to Cigarettes and Motel and Beautiful and thinking, what is this? Because it's not what I expected. So it's not that the food is the album isn't great. It's just like, well, that's not what I heard, and so I
sorry.
might feel betrayed.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, it was deceptive. DJ All Day just said Sharissa, and that uh, girl, you picked the wrong time. Do you remember that song?
No, no, I don't. I never
That
heard of
song is
Sharissa.
a bad boy song. Well, you picked the wrong time because I got company. That was a bad boy song. I didn't have the album, but I remember that as a thing. Oh, Tony J said pickle juice might help with your cramps. Thank you, Tony. No, 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 I'm good for the cramps now, man. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the sidebars. But no, that era, that little pocket, what DJ All Day is saying is that there was a few people because there was Blue Cantrell and Sharifa and Charissa, and but I wouldn't be able to tell you what the Blue Cantrell album was like because
No, it's just that. Oops. That's,
hit 'em up style, yeah, hit 'em up style, and the would be about baby acting shady. The song with Sean Paul, Let It Breathe.
oh yeah, yeah. Breathe. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
With
yeah,
what's with Dre's What's the Difference? But I wouldn't
yeah.
tell you about the
Dun, dun,
album
dun.
at large. Just those,
Yeah.
just those two singles. And actually, um, just speaking of it, like Blue Cantrell, her whole oeuvre was that kind of like when you hear like hit 'em up style, it's like she was doing this kind of scatting 1930s
Mm,
jazz, decadent kind of club kind of thing. And we've not seen her since. Like we've really not seen
yeah. In fact, I remember trying to. I remember trying to. Let me see. Yeah, 20. I remember trying to hit her up to
yeah.
do an interview, and her team says, "Nah, she's not doing anything right now."
Mm.
And she has. If you look at it, she hasn't posted in a year and a half.
Okay, wow. But she's living
Yeah,
life. She's living life.
she's not, and but she's not doing shows as well.
Yeah.
She's not doing shows, and so it just who knows. And so I mean, you know, and as I mentioned with Truthful, you know, she does one or two shows, has one of um, even Sauce and Anderson is another one. They all, you know, they had the big single, but then none of the consistency, and that's the difference when you have
Yeah.
a big producer, and that was one of the issues we had with what Timberland was doing. They had the issue with what's this Bobby V when he had the Tim and Bob type of vibe. It was his stuff. He said his biggest regret was when he left that market and went and got a Timberland. Because even though it was a big track, he lost his identity
Yeah.
because it was a Timberland production and he was singing on it, and
Yeah.
it kind of lost his identity. And I think some of these female artists that we're talking about who had the big hit didn't really follow through. Um, we didn't get to grow, and so Alicia Keys is still relevant because she did her stuff and consistently grew with that. India Arie consistently
She's
grew.
self-produced though as well, so she controls the means of production. Literally, like Alicia Keys and Crucial Keys were the in-house production. She did a lot of. She participated in a production in that way. So if you think about the first album, Songs in the Key of A Minor, while I don't love it, it's not my favorite album of hers. It
Mm,
had its own sound because Falling is its own thing. And
yeah.
it's like, and then it evolved because by the time you get to Diary of Alicia Keys, which is one of my favorites, she's able to branch into like, I'm gonna get Timbaland to produce something, I'm gonna get Kanye to produce something, and it works. So by the time you get to the third album, which is my favorite of hers, As I Am, the one with No One and Teenage Love Affair and all these like amazing songs, you're like, oh, you're here to stay. Like it's out of here. Like you're here to stay. You ain't going nowhere. You're not
Yeah.
at all. Um, but then that is another conversation about like when an artist is self-produced,
Yeah, but
because
not just self-produced though, because it's the fact that you're allowed to have your own sound and stay with your own sound. So Pink said, "Yeah, that wasn't my style." You know, she was part of a group. I can't remember the name of the group now because Daryl Simmons. But when I interviewed him, spoke about she was part of the group, but she was when the three girls were singing.
mm,
Pink was always different. They could tell that there was something different in her, and she was always trying to find out more. While the other girls, um, were just like, yeah, we're just happy to be here, and
music,
so she knew what she wanted to be. I think a lot of the other artists they'll just go with the flow and they don't stand up for it.
mhm,
And I don't think Tweet could have, Silver Room would have said, "Look, man, I don't have the time to push this album." But then look at India Ari, they pushed her album. She
mm,
goes double platinum, sticking to a vibe that represented her.
mm.
Um, I mean, was Oops your favorite song on that album?
No, no, no way. And it's a brilliant song, but no, not at all. My favorite songs on the album would be like I love Motel, I love Always Will. Oh God, that is one of those. Oh, that's Always Will is beautiful. Beautiful is like one of my favorite songs. It's like just one of my favorite songs ever. Smoking Cigarettes, um, a Best Friend, like those songs, the songs that don't represent, the songs that are like guitar based, kind of the songs that you could just play with you and a guitar and sing are like my favorite songs. But those first three songs just go so crazy.
Heaven. I loved Heaven.
Heaven's a beautiful song. Heaven's beautiful.
I loved Heaven. I think the only thing I didn't like about Hotel Motel was when she was when hotel motel
Tell,
holiday, and I'm thinking you're gonna pay somebody just to use something.
yeah.
You didn't need to put that in there.
Do you know what?
You didn't need to
Actually,
put it in because
no,
you're
no.
just
You
gonna
know
have to
what?
give somebody publishing for that.
Oh, listen. Sugar Hill
Choice. Thanks,
Records.
man.
Yeah, like Sugar Hill Records or whatever it is. Sylvia Robinson and them. They getting paid off of that because that's the Sugar
Yeah,
Hill
you
guy.
need to put. I was like, why did you put
But
it in there? You didn't need
but
to. You...
for the art of it, if someone's going, do you know what? I'll give you a little publishing for that, and you're giving back, providing that like Sugar Hill are getting paid themselves off of that. But like I think the song is stronger for that little bit of a refrain, and it's a fun. It is also reaching back into hip hop because, like it or not, by that point, hip hop and its impact on singing and
Mm,
R&B culture is like, you know, like inextricable.
mhm.
Because at a certain point, hip hop in black music was the novelty, and then it became de rigueur. It's like you couldn't avoid them. Like remember, like I remember hearing like as early as like '86, Michael Jackson was working with Run DMC, but it was like a novelty thing. But the apex was the singers. And then by this point, the 2002s, yeah, the singers are cool, but they're singing hooks. You see what I'm saying? They're singing hooks for like the hip hop stars because that's what's making all the money. So anyway, but that hotel motel reference, I like it.
She said Forensic was saying she should have said hot ho
T,
to.
T, O T,
Okay.
T, yeah. No,
Yeah, I like Drunk. There's another fine song.
yeah,
And but as I said, it is it was just a vibe that just flowed, and but as I said, the two lead singles, which are always the ones that open the door
yeah,
to the main album, didn't give you the sense of what the whole album was.
yeah,
And if I think of a group called like Changing Faces,
yeah.
they had a formula that we get two R. Kelly tracks,
Mhm.
very similar. They open the door, then we can play our own. And they did that with at least the first three albums, getting R. Kelly to do, whether it's Get Out, or whether it's all these, and then they wrote,
Yeah.
70% of the rest of the album in that same vibe of what he presented to them.
And you could kind of, I suppose you could do that in a time where like you don't get the album till you get the album. I'll give you the singles, and then I can feed you whatever I want on the album, because all you're getting as to whet your appetite are these singles. But
Mm.
like now, you could never get away with that really, because everything's a la carte, and you can hear everything in such advance. But if we think about, I mean, this brings up a point about, say, like Thriller, because The Girl Is Mine was the lead single off of
And
what
you wouldn't know, I wouldn't even remember that.
you wouldn't have remembered that. And actually, it was at the time. I mean, we look back at it now, and go like, what? And maybe at the time they were like, what the hell are you doing? But strategic as hell, man. It's like, let me get middle of the road radio. Let me just get middle of the road radio, because you drop a Billie Jean, and it's like you played your trump card. I mean, it's not even a trump card because he's got other trump cards, but you've sort of blown your load, as it were, really early. But you drop The Girl Is Mine. What did The Girl Is Mine go number one?
I didn't even know, it didn't have a video,
It
so it
didn't.
would have.
Right.
No, it
What?
didn't have a video. So, but it's and you look at it and said that was the first single. I'm saying I remember Billie Jean as the first major single.
Yeah,
Um, but as I said, it is um, the industry itself is one that you've got to be hope that they go the long game, and I think she was fortunate that she got two albums on Electra. I
yeah.
think she released three albums, but I just want to be able to see, because I think she really I don't know, she Me Again, and then
And
she did the
Charlie,
Dara Solo Symphony, but I don't know if no, so that was she had it, so she left Electra after after her Me Again, because the album didn't sell. But it is never, so if you think of somebody like Gina Thompson, The Things You Do,
yeah,
she released that single, it was blowing up. By the time they were supposed to release the second single, her label Mercury got merged, got folded,
yeah.
and the only person that they took was Brian McKnight, and said, "Okay, look, you've done double, you've gone platinum with this album, so we're
Mm,
gonna move you over to Capitol."
mm,
But all the rest were just gonna drop them. So right when she was blowing up, they dropped her.
yeah, crazy.
Missy, because she did the remix. She did the remix on The Things You Do. Signed her to her gold mine on Electra. They
Yeah,
did Yada Yada, the first single. They got the video, um, and the label just says, we need to cut some costs, and then Gina gets dropped again. So she never put out. She put out a full album on Mercury, but didn't get the promotion.
mm,
I think she put out the full album on Elektra, but they dropped her without promotion. Well, so I say this to say that Tweet was fortunate that actually she was able to get two major studio albums out. Means that she can then capitalize on that, because a lot of artists, they just shelve them. They just say, okay, work on some music. It's cheaper for us to pay, you know, 200,000 to get producers to produce the album, but we don't have 2 million to promote it, so we'll just shelve it. And then what happens? How does it feel? So as I said, that she was fortunate to be able to get that, but um, there was no how after they misled us with the first singles that the public were just going to go and buy the second album,
yeah.
because then we're like, that's not, I don't see Timberland producing any of those tracks.
No, he didn't. But actually, the lead single for "It's Me Again," turn 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 out the lights, turn off the lights, was a pretty. I think it was a pretty deep. I think it did pretty well. Like I remember it and hearing it quite a fair bit, but not in the same way as "Oops." But it was a strong tune. But the album as a whole, the second album as a whole, just didn't. I don't think the songs were as impactful. Like Taxi's really cool. Um, Taxi's a really cool song, and The Two of Us with her daughter. It's a beautiful song, and it's actually was sampled recently by Wretch Free too, um, on Feels Like Home. So on his new album, he's got a song called Feels Like Home, and
Ah.
they sample The Two of Us from Tweet's second album. Um, but yeah, it's just interesting. It's just interesting that period. You mentioned Sunshine Anderson, and because I didn't ever have the first Sunshine Anderson album, but I bought the second one weirdly, Sunshine After Midnight, I think it's called, and that had the lead single off of that was "There's Something That I Want to Give You," which is like I think it's sampled to Shy Lights, and but yeah, there's a few of those mid 2000s sophomore albums which just were never as strong as the debuts. I mean, naturally, the sophomore slump.
Mm.
But yeah, there was a slew of them. Latoya Luckett had like a tricky, I think, second album. Sunshine did. Who else? You've heard,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think Amy Marie was,
No,
friends with.
Emery went. Yeah, it went up for her because
Yeah,
actually the first album was cool, and then one thing took her to the stratosphere.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, but and that because that was so I was working at Edmonds Entertainment in 2002,
Yeah,
and the president of I can't remember his name right now. I'd come to work every morning, and he had his own label, and he'll every morning I'll come into work. He was supposed to be promoting Third Story because that's the project we were working on. That's
yeah,
signed to Edmonds, but he would be playing
yeah,
Why Don't We Fall in Love every morning. He comes into the office and he's playing Why Don't We Fall in Love, and I'm thinking, what the? And I'm like, after a while, I said, man, this is a nice track, but
yeah,
we're not. That's not. That was a different label. And I
yeah,
remember A. Marie coming in, with her mini little shorts and little small stature coming into the label. I'm
yeah.
waiting to interview her to remind her if she remembers me and stuff like that. But she had that vibe of an album, which was cool. But then she then was able to capitalize that, get
Mm.
her style, the one thing, and took and then sadly, Beyonce, as they would say, Beyonce saw that sound and took it.
Rich Harrison, the Rich
Took
Harrison.
Rich Harrison, and then she
Yeah,
did Dangerously in Love, and
yeah.
and so you can't, and Amy didn't really work with Rich again, and
Yeah.
I know both on the same label, so
What were they on Columbia? Was it Columbia they were on?
both on Sony. So
So,
you could. There's only one room, one sheriff in town. So one career goes this way, and another glows up and stuff like that. But anyway, just before we wrap up, because I know we've had a long day. Out of a 10, how would you rate Southern Hummingbird? And for those who've not listened to it, what would you tell them?
so how would I rate it out of 10? In sentimental terms, it's a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, maybe even an 11 out of 10 because of what it meant for my life and the time and all that type of stuff. In real terms, it's like a 7. It's like a 7, maybe 8, but to me it's a 10. But for in real terms of what it is, and to the points that you were making about its the inconsistency, it's like a 7 because actually there's an album that exists that is more Boogie Tonight, more Oops, more Call Me, more traditional, more contemporary R&B of that time. Where
Mhm.
and then there's another album which is more an acoustic album. So I'd say the world will mark it as a 7, but for me it's a 10. And for people who haven't listened to it, I would say I would say put the album on. This is what I'd do if you had the time to do. Light some candles,
Candles.
I don't. I actually. I'm 10 years sober. Actually, I haven't. This January marks like 10 years of me not having a drink. But I would say to people who do drink, get a nice glass of red wine, put on some candles, and play the album top to front. If you have a loved one, a romantic partner, like sit and listen to it with them because you'll fall in love again. I think
Mm,
like such beautiful there's such beautiful music on this album. So and there's great songs like the aforementioned Motel, Always Will,
mm.
Beautiful, Best Friend. There's just so many good songs. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess for me, I probably would give it an 8 because it was a surprise. I listened to this album without expecting it to be full of oops
Mm,
and boogie tonight, and I was almost taken aback that it was a completely different album than the lead singles. Um, it was disappointing because it changed my expectations, but then I can understand why they would do that. But I think it was very short-sighted by the label because they could have given allowed her to grow
mm,
by showcasing her real skills, with the guitar and stuff. But for an album that you listen to and then I can go from the next song without recognizing that I've moved,
mhm,
tells me that it was a really well put together album.
mhm,
So I would give it an 8,
mhm.
and I'll employ anyone else to listen to it and maybe skip the Oops and Boogie Tonight, and then you get a real packaged album.
Mm.
So definitely thanks everyone for everyone's saying congrats on 10 years
Yes,
popularity.
Christ. But it wasn't. But you know, I didn't stop drinking because of any problems. I just stopped drinking because I was like, let me just not drink. Let me just take it out of my life. And so, but thank you very much for it because it is. It's. I just realized it has been 10 years. But no, I didn't. I stopped drinking because I was like, let me see what life is like without alcohol. Um,
and and before we go, so Akenji is also, not only is he an actor, but also a television. He's done TV shows. He also has a song out that he's streaming. So, do you want to give out some of those details so
Oh,
everyone can?
100%, 100%. So I've got a song called Good High that I put it out on January 8th, and it's doing really well. And it's out on all the usual service digital service providers. It's called Good High, and it's just my name, Akemji, Akemnji, and no one's gonna copy that. It's not gonna be like Tweet. Uh, Only one me. So if you put my name in, you'll hear that, and then I'll be putting out more music as time goes on, and then I also made Drillagram as well, the birthday girl song. I wrote and produced that, and I'm gonna have some more music out for you. So yeah,
Yeah, if you've ever seen Famalan, they have this "Who's the Birthday Girl? Who's the
right.
Birthday Girl?" Yes, so he did that production as well. But also search him out. Just put in Akenji, and you can find him on Instagram as well, and just see all the stuff. He's got a show that's in the UK is on the BBC called Black Ops
Yeah,
season 2, and in the US it's on Hulu.
it's on Hulu.
Season 1,
Yeah.
but season 2
And
would
one
be
of our lead actors has just been cast in the SNL UK. So Hamid's just been cast in the SNL UK. So you're gonna be seeing a lot more Black Ops stateside, man. So it's good times. But you always have amazing chat, man. Big up to DJ all day.
he's gonna get some coffee.
Reg Golden Child, Shy Boy Shades, and Ezekiel said to put me and Tweet on a Pop the Balloon. I would love that. I'd love that. I'll have that. I'll have that.
I didn't realize what Pop the Balloon was, but then when you mentioned it, I can remember that the TV show. Yeah. Also, your film that you co-starred in got nominated for Best
Got
British.
nominated for BAFTA. It's mad, yeah. Ballad of Wallace Island, which was Tom Bazden, Tim Key, and Carey Mulligan. I played Carey Mulligan's husband, her American husband, mind you. That's been nominated for 3 BAFTAs. And Reg used to go to Anna Sher. Salute to Anna Sher. Salute, rest in peace, Anna Sher, legend.
What's that?
Anna Sher is a drama
Okay.
in North London, and it birthed legends like Daniel Kaluuya, Reggie Yates, Marvin
Okay.
Benoit, all sorts. But no. So there's lots going on at the moment. Thank you for bringing it up, Namdi. But yeah, Ballad of Wallace Island is available to stream on all the usual places. It's a beautiful film, beautiful British film. Richard Curtis called it one of the 10 best British films of all time. I'm in it. That's cool. And I play an American. Yeah, there's loads of stuff going on, man. So just follow me on the socials, and I'll be putting stuff out, and hopefully if Nandi's not bored of me, he'll have me back for another chat, you know. And
Yes.
and hopefully I won't go to IKEA that day.
Yeah. So yeah, we had some mix ups and stuff. But anyway, as always, we thank you guys for catching us, for joining us, for commenting, and especially with it's an album like Tweets, which Southern Hummingbird, which wasn't, as I said, wasn't on popular black radio, mainstream radio, but it was an album that needed to be discovered. So hopefully more people will discover it. And as I said, Akemnji's Twitter IG handle is there. Definitely, please follow him and just show the love. And he'll definitely be back. We've done a Michael, we've done a Chronic, we have done a Tweet Summon Hot Tweet album, and yeah, we'll definitely bring him back. We'll definitely bring him back.
Man. I'll be back, and I'll try not to talk too much.
The good film ballads. I'm gonna watch that as well.
Yes,
I'm in my awards-winning season as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna talk to him off camera, just to think about the next album. But for the rest of you guys, we appreciate you and we thank you, and we'll definitely see you soon. Take care.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
And somewhere in between us, or even loving us, on which I did miss you.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
Trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No. Okay, you're okay.
They don't understand what Jonas' voice meant in all spirits.
Play it.